elected to a political post in another country of the European
That I
Union.
did not know. That's interesting.
So this doesn't work for the national parliaments, which
All
are
right.
reserved to nationals, but this works for municipal councils, this works for regional councils, and this works for the European Parliament. So you have a number of citizens of other countries of the European Union. For example, if you are a French, you have been living most of your life in Italy, and the citizens of your city, they want to trust you.
With any post, I mean.
In the classical international approach, it would be impossible because this is a foreign citizen.
True.
But actually, this has become possible. So we have in Europe some few mayors of a nationality different from the city.
Well, that's very interesting.
That's very advanced view.
Exactly, and that shows that cooperation that exists between these 28 countries and soon to be 30 or 30 plus countries in the coming years. Mr. Gatto, let's come towards Pakistan and the European Union. This cooperation started way back in 1974, but basically it was more ratified in 2004. You had a major agreement, a cooperation agreement in 2004. And since then, the cooperation has been going on and on in different spheres of life. Could you highlight some of them?
Listen, not only, yes, we have a number of agreements which date the years we mentioned, but now the most recent developments was in 2007. In 2012 was the establishment of a five-year engagement plan. So the formal document which rules our relations is the cooperation agreement that you mentioned, 2004. But then it became again fully operational and actually enhanced by this 5-year engagement plan. What is interesting with the 5-year engagement plan is that it moves the relationship from a relationship between a donor and a developing country into a relationship between two partners, two political partners, which means we talk politics, we talk cooperation, we talk economy. It's a very complex and complete relationship which is working relatively well, I would say. We have an economic dimension which is very important. In all these, you see the dates are not innocent. This was adopted in 2012 because this was the result of a return to full democracy in Pakistan. So, and this was enhanced by the fact that there was also a transition between civilian government.
Yes.
So this was made possible by that. So the first step was enhancing this through a new engagement. It's a political engagement. It's not only a juridical or cooperation-related engagement. It's a political engagement. A very important component of it is the economic one, because still the European Union is an important economic actor.
The GSP
and
plus,
for Pakistan, it's very important. This GSP plus status that was given to Pakistan, which means why GSP plus is important. GSP plus is important because it is a concession which is unilateral in the sense that the European Union gives duty zero access to most Pakistani products to the European market, but doesn't pretend in exchange to have zero duty on its own products, which would be a bit too strong competition for Pakistan. So it's not a free trade arrangement, it's a unilateral arrangement, but this arrangement is rooted in rules. It's not just that tomorrow we can change our mind and say, you know what, we take you this away. No, we cannot do that because we have a pattern of rules that we have to respect. So every 2 years there is an assessment of the system, how it works. The system is essentially market access in exchange of improvement for the sake of the Pakistani citizens of a number of conditions in terms of human rights, labor conditions, environmental standards. That this is not done to please the European Union. This is done in order to improve the conditions of life in Pakistan and also being conducive. In order to do that, we give market access in order to make it easier. How it worked well. Since this was started operating on 1st January 2014, in 2 years, the first year was a real success in the sense the exports from Pakistan to the European Union increased a lot by 20%.
All right.
And Pakistan has a favorable balance of trade with Europe. We import more goods from Pakistan than we export to Pakistan. But we are happy with that because this contributes to stability. We contribute to, this is why we did it. If there are more jobs opportunities, there are also some temptations that are avoided. So this is going well. The second year was a bit less buoyant because unfortunately there are a number of structural conditions in the Pakistani economy that make difficult to match the requirements of the international market. So for this reason we saw that the figures are less impressive in the second year. But let me underline this. The Pakistani record in foreign trade is declining all over the world, with one exception, which is the European Union. It's the only market where the quota, I mean the presence, the rate of presence of the European Union products, of the Pakistani products is still stable or increasing. To know. So it's very important for Pakistan to keep this GSP plus, to keep also implementing these 27 regulations, and that are commitments that are being taken by the Pakistani government at the time, and now there is an incentive to implement them. So we have this economic dimension. We would like to see more European investments in Pakistan, honestly speaking. This is part of the engagement. It's not easy for the time being. It's not easy. We are talking to investors. It's not easy because still there is an image of Pakistan as a difficult country. But you probably notice in the last few months that there are some member states that are making a lot of, taking a lot of initiatives, and they are very present. And I'm confident that progressively investments will come from Europe to Pakistan more and more in the measure in which the security situation also improves. They are also coming. Then we have a political dimension and the cooperation dimension. The cooperation dimension, maybe very rapidly, we have three major areas of cooperation in Pakistan. We have a portfolio as European Union of 653 million euros for these next 6 years. And you have to add to that more than the double coming from member states. So if you see the portfolio of the European Union in its globality is very, very, very significant. But still talking on the 653 million that we give directly, they are distributed in three areas. One is education and vocational training. So we support secondary education and vocational training, two separate actions. And this is very successful. This was done with the Punjab in the past, and now we are focusing rather on Sindh, because we decided to focus on provinces for different action, because in view of the funds, which are important but not infinite, we want to focus on provinces. So now for education we are focusing on Sindh, and we are seeing some progress, but there are still actions going on in Punjab. And we are also starting soon in Balochistan.
All right.
Then we have a second priority, which is rural development. In rural development, what we do is essentially we work with the provincial governments in order to create, to fund initiatives, which will be eventually funded by the provincial governments with European money. But these initiatives will have been defined by the population of the districts and villages. So we work in partnership with Pakistani institutions. We are working on KP and Sindh again. In Sindh we also have an additional focus, which is provincial on nutrition, because as you know, that province is more, as some districts of the province have a record of which is lower than the rest of the country. So we work the dimension inserted into rural development, but is a combined approach where you put together health, nutrition, sanitation, and rural development.
All right.
And then we have a third. So rural development, I would say, is going well. It's not always easy to work. There is one difficulty I have to tell you as donors. We have a difficulty in this country with the 18th Amendment doesn't necessarily make things easy. In the sense that it's sometimes difficult to build up a working relationship with provinces. There are many changes. There are governments that go and come. The resources are not always there. But we have to work with this. We had a debate with our headquarters in Brussels, because they were a bit surprised that so much was done at provincial level in Pakistan. But we explained to them, listen, this is what they decided to do. This is the 18th Amendment. We have to live with that. So for this reason, we decided in recent years to focus more on some provinces. So instead of having all these priorities everywhere, to be focused on some priorities in some provinces.
I understand.
And we, in this period, we will more in the next few years, We will more with Sindh and Balochistan.
Okay.
We still work with KP, and we work a bit relatively less with other regions.
What is the third area of priority that you were talking about?
The third area of priority is governance and human rights.
All right.
Governance and human rights, there we work rather with the federal government, but also there is a provincial dimension there, because many of these human rights conventions, actually there are they require concrete measures adopted by the provincial governments. Sometimes the provincial governments, they do not even know very well. They are not aware of this international obligation, because these are conventions signed by the government of Pakistan and then implemented by the provinces. And, so there is an important component of training, awareness, make these commitments known. There is a component, this governance has essentially three parts. One is elections. You know that we mentioned it before, we made 2 election observation missions. When we send an election observation mission, we don't send it in a vacuum. We always propose to the country a partnership, and we propose cooperation. So for elections, we are going to provide 20 million to the Election Commission of Pakistan in order to essentially focus on training of the returning officers and the personnel which is involved in election. You know that this was the main bone of contention in the last election. 2013 was the fact that the returning officers were not always prepared, or they didn't work with the same standards.
Yes.
So, so we think that training is very important for that. So we'll make a major effort with the Election Commission of Pakistan. We pretend to work, we are working with the National Assembly and the Senate of Pakistan. We provide technical assistance to them, important amounts of technical assistance, like in the order of 25 million euros, in order to improve the quality of legislation, the quality of international research. We funded the first bunches of assistants, legislative assistants, young people that work in the parliament, to help the members of parliament to study international legislation, to produce better laws. This is one aspect. Then there is a component of human rights. Human rights is sometimes a bit complex, the relationship between the European Union and human rights and Pakistan human rights, because sometimes in the Pakistani society there are people that think that the European Union has an agenda of imposing standards. No, we don't have such an agenda. We are very respectful of the Pakistani sovereignty and culture. We have different ideas and perception on things. I cannot deny that we have a different idea of capital punishment, for example. When we face terrorism, we never use the death penalty in Europe. This corresponds to our culture and sensitiveness. We think this should be an universal measure, and we propose that. We know that in Pakistan is not exactly what is felt right now. Most Pakistani citizens and the government think that death penalty is a necessity. We have different ideas on that, but we know that we have a different perception. This does not impede us to work together on many other aspects. We think that there are rights which are embedded in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to which Pakistan adhered, and to all the international conventions. So we cannot say that these are Western or external or imposed criteria. These are standards that are for the benefit of the Pakistani people.
I think, Mr. Gatto, standards are standards that have been maintained by both countries, and I mean not even a country. This is a conglomerate of 28 countries and Pakistan, and this is a relationship that has only evolved for the better in different spheres of life, whether it be the economy, whether it be all the other aspects, and even humanitarian aid. You've helped us in all the different crises that we've been through, whether it be floods, whether it be earthquakes, and all that we can hope, Mrs. Stefano Gatto, is that in the coming years, this relationship in the economic field, as you said, Pakistan is the only the country that has the strong link as far as exports are concerned to the European Union as compared to the other countries. I hope this becomes even stronger in other fields as well, apart from economy, and that the bond that the European Union and Pakistan share gets more strengthened with the passage of time. and that is all we can hope for a better relationship, for a better cooperation, and for a better future for not only for our country but also for the European Union. Thank you very much, Mr. Stefano Gatto.
Thank you very much to you for the opportunity.
And to have given us such an insight into how the European Union works, the migrant crisis, Brexit, and the cooperation with Pakistan. And we hope to get you back soon on another show and to talk more about all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the moment. European Union and Pakistan, a strong bond that exists since the 70s and is going stronger and stronger. We hope to see more of that light coming in the coming years and decades. We'll bid you farewell for now. Take care of yourselves and see you next week with another show. Allah Hafiz.